Now on to day 2 of our 9/11 20th anniversary special.
I was a freshman in high school, so I was 13 years old, and I was actually on a field trip. My PE class had gone to a park in downtown Nashville, and we'd only been there about 5 minutes, and they herded us all on the bus and drove us back to school.
So I was in 7th grade. I was sitting in English class. The teacher came in and she was really upset.
So I was a freshman at Western Kentucky. We'd had morning workouts, and I had gone back to my dorm, and everything was really quiet. And to be in an all boys dorm, nothing's ever quiet.
So it was toward the end of my junior year at UT. We had class. So like in between the time of the first tower and the second tower, people were just kind of like, hey, maybe we need to go and check out the TVs. Maybe we need to go to the student center and see what's going on. And we were all just kind of like, what are we doing here?
I was living in Phoenix, Arizona. I was 22 years old, and my first job out of college was working at the Arizona Republic, and I was a newspaper reporter covering entertainment.
So when they showed the first plane, but I kind of recall it as a potential accident, just that a plane had hit the building. But then when you see the second plane hit the building, that's no accident. So no, I got it. I definitely understood what was happening when the second plane hit.
I'd left my TV on overnight, and I was half asleep when I could hear the second plane, I think, was getting ready to hit one of the towers. And I actually thought I was dreaming. I got a phone call right after that from my boss in the newsroom, and they wanted everybody to come in to the newsroom.
And then it was kind of like, what's going on? And then, of course, then we find out about, okay, the Pentagon and the Pentagon getting hit. And then, of course, the Shanksville, the United flight.
We didn't change classes to go to second block that day. We stayed in first for a long time. And normally I would ride the Metro buses home. But my mom actually left work to come early and come and pick me up from school.
The rest of my day really just went through a lot of different emotions. Anger, went through fear. I mean, I'm not too proud to say that I went through fear. I come from a military family, so I also knew that, and I knew that on that day that their world was about to change, that they were going somewhere they had never been because of something that happened on our land.
I was by myself. I had no family out there. And especially as a 21, 22-year-old, it made me nervous a little bit. I definitely missed my family. I wanted to be near them for sure.
Well, I mean, my brother he had just taken his oath he was going to the Naval Academy. At that point, I understood because my dad kind of set us down and he was like, Josh, is this something that you want to do? And my brother was even more gung-ho about it. He was like, yes, this is what I want to do. I know I want to go into the service. I know I'm going to be deployed overseas at some point. It 100% hit home that, I mean, I could very well lose my brother.
I knew people, like in my youth group at church, I knew people that I had like a brother that was in the Twin Towers, and it was very personal for that family that went through it, that lost a loved one.
If anybody knows anything about me, as you're walking out of my class, I get to say bye, I love you to everybody, and that kind of started when I was a freshman in high school because, you know, there were some kids who had family in New York at that time, and they never got to say, I love you again. So it helped shape the person that I am now.
I guess my innocence, in a weird way, my innocence was kind of taken because, again, you realize this place that you thought, oh, nothing's going to happen. It's America. We've never been hit on our soil before. It just changed my outlook on life as far as be thankful for what you have, cherish the moments that you have with your family.
I had booked a plane ticket to go home for Thanksgiving that year, and I was scared. That just made me a little paranoid, a little bit. And I love to fly. Flying is my favorite way of travel, but it was so close to when September 11th happened. It wasn't like I waited a year after September 11th. I literally got on a plane a couple of months later. And I'm sure there were lots of other people that felt the same way.
I'm very proud to be an American. I'm proud of those freedoms and things to that nature. And for the first time, something had challenged that. And I hate to say that I had rose-colored glasses on about it, but you kind of have rose-colored glasses. I mean, I'm 18, 19 years old when this happens. At that point, I guess idealistic, I really felt like everybody liked us. And then to see that happen.
And that's how I think the world changed, is no longer were we naive that, the battle wasn't going to come to American soil. All of a sudden we realized that, yeah, we're a great nation and we have wonderful things in place and people want to be here, but people also want to attack us. But another thing that I think they saw too, 9/11 showed that we will come together and we will fight for our own.
It brought us together as a country, and we were leaning on each other and we cared. And then people would start looking back with distrust and questioning their neighbors. And we started slowly picking at each other. If we were able to go back to how we were as a community, as a country on September 12th, the day after, we were all in this together. We were all together.
It was an emotional day for our country, for everybody there. It was the raw emotions, from the leaders all the way down. One of the few times in our country's history where I kind of feel like for a brief moment in time, everybody pulled in the same direction.
There were a lot of people that canceled. I remember talking to a concert promoter and he told me, there were people that, canceled, tickets because they were just afraid to come out of their house. And I think it instilled that type of fear in people for a while before they could come back out and start doing normal things like going to concerts and movies and theater and stuff.
The way that we then viewed security and how things changed after that, I mean, you're actually lucky to be on the airport site now. If you don't have a ticket, if you don't have something to go, they're going to hustle you along. So I don't know how anybody could tell you that they didn't have a sense of fear after all of that.
People were, especially the first month or so, people were afraid to go and shop, go to sporting events. I remember when kind of baseball started back up, the Yankees got back, and the president went out there and threw the first pitch and just nailed the curveball, throwing the ball out. I mean, like, it was a big deal. I mean, it was sort of like people took a breath and they're like, there we go. Let's get back. Let's get going again.
It's a day I won't forget for sure, as long as I live.
I certainly hope that the generations that follow remember the mantra that we will never forget.
Remember that we're all neighbors, and people that you wouldn't expect were affected by 9/11 more than you realize. We're all in this together, and we're all recovering together. We're still recovering.
In class, I always ask students, who's your hero in life? Do you have heroes in life? And those people who were the first responders, firefighters, policemen, they ran toward the chaos to save lives. The people on the United flight that gave their lives to bring the plane down so that their plane couldn't be used as a weapon against other Americans in our nation's capital. For those of us kind of coming of age right at that time, it had a huge impact, I think, just on heroes.
My brother and my father fought for this country, and as bad as we can get sometimes, I'm still thankful that I'm an American citizen and that I can wake up every day in America.